Oh my gosh, do I have an amazing garden property to show you today. There's lots in store, but let me start out with probably the most unusual thing. It's the only property I've ever seen that had a pool in the front yard, and I use that term yard loosely because this is really an incredible property that's circumscribed in the front with a beautiful stone wall, gorgeous pruned up trees. Well, oh my goodness, there are so many treasures here. I think we just need to get started. My friends John and Roger are going to meet me to go on this tour so they can really explain to you what is what and how they got this marvelous effect. So, lots to see. Let's get to it. Oh my gosh, I love my job. So I am here with two of my best buddies. So you guys know Roger and John. I've alluded to you many times before. Have you been on camera before?
I have 2 or 3 times.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't really remember.
We've alluded a lot more than that.
Okay, so we are here with John Fluitt and Roger of Garden Design at a magnificent property north of Oklahoma City, kind of, I guess, on the south side of Edmond.
Mm-hmm.
Would you
north
say?
Side of Edmond.
North side of Edmond. North side of Edmond.
Uh-huh.
So anyhow, this is absolutely fabulous, and it feels like we are out in the country at a state park or in Washington State or something. So tell me a little bit about this property and your relationship to it.
Yeah, I first met the owners in the early 80s. The house had just been built. It's an early
Jim Fraser design. Yes.
And how would you describe the architecture of it?
It's unique, and
It has kind of a elegant lodge character to it. You know, it really feels like it should be in a forest, like it is.
And, and I think even though it's of 80s vernacular, it still is timeless because it's absolutely...
Well, it is. It is. I think it really is timeless. It's and it's such a unique design. It kind of plays off of different styles of architecture, so you can't really pin it down to a specific time period.
Stuart, let's turn around just a little bit so people can see what I'm talking about. John, speak to when you started working with a property. Did it look the way it looks now?
it looked similar in that it's in part of the cross timbers, that vein of oak trees that come up through Texas into Oklahoma, and it peters out north of here. But these oaks have like a certain soil, good drainage, sandier soil. So it opens up the spectrum of plants we can grow. And the main things that were added back in the early 80s were evergreen material and things up here closer to the home. And it's funny because I lost contact with the owners for 20 years and came back 30 years, whatever.
Oh, wow.
And Roger and I came in and started helping them again a few
Well,
years ago.
what I love is, and when my family moved to Edmond many years ago, how everybody tried to maintain this kind of the sensibility of the property by keeping those old growth blackjacks and scrub oaks and things like that, and really pruning them up beautifully because this is an old stand.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is. These trees are, I mean, I don't know, Stuart, if you can shoot up in the canopy, it just is magic when you drive through here.
And allowing that light to come down and be able to grow a lawn and growing other layered plants beneath it requires some limbing up.
Yeah, and let's speak to, if you would speak to that and why you do it, not only for the light play that comes through, but air circulation.
Air circulation and just people want a variety of things, flowering trees.
And boy, just look at what it looks like when it's done on all these trees at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It looks so amazing.
So yeah, air circulation helps tremendously. And we do have deer in this area, so they have been working on things. So you'll see some fencing around some of the evergreens because they like to get up and rub against them and munch on them. So,
but I would assume that these old growth blackjacks are fairly deer resistant, or they wouldn't still be here.
I think so.
Yeah.
And drought resistant too.
Right. So this is that scraggly part of the cross timbers that the conquistadors and things had to really work their way through to get north. But when you remove all the scrubbiness and all of that cross timber, they look absolutely breathtaking. So this property is is recessed, and it's kind of in a swale of sorts. And so when the house was originally built, John, what was here and what wasn't here? And
Well, they did push all the trees, of course, were here, and then carved out the pad at the very rear of the property. There's a water tributary through the back that carries a lot of water when it's heavy rain, and the house is built right up to the edge of that. So they maximize privacy, getting it back away from the road.
And also the fact that it's lower than the road makes it that much more private.
well, and that much more intimate. I
Yes.
mean, really.
Oh, yes.
And so that is I would say that's one of the coolest things to me about this property. It's something that I was telling you, John, that we were hoping to replicate in Colorado. But don't always assume that if you're building a house, it has to be right up in front and near the road. It can obviously be in the depth of the property, and that way you can play in the front, and with all these trees, you still maximize the amount of privacy you get, and it makes the property feel that much larger. So how big is this property?
Probably under 3 acres.
It feels
Yeah,
so.
it's a nice sized property for just a single residence.
So Roger, did you guys come in later and put in all of the gravel drive and everything? And look at the magnificent gate up there. That's wonderful.
The gravel drive was here. We refreshed it, took out all of the old railroad ties that bordered it and replaced it with the steel edging so we can get some kind of nice sinuous lines. We brought in some boulders. There were boulders scattered around. We brought in more, and we used native, mostly red sandstone, Oklahoma border boulders.
And the stone communicates. Talk to me about this wonderful fence. John, was this here?
The wall was built probably about maybe 6 or 8 years ago. And before that, it was totally private from the road between the wall and the roadbed. But she wanted to open it up a little bit.
It was just the original undergrowth.
Wow.
was
Oh, wow.
left
Wow.
To
Okay.
screen it out there.
So it was totally private from the road before that. But it was a little bit hard to manage, so they went ahead and cleared that out. But the wall is hand built. She found some great stonemasons that kept it kind of craggly and very unique in its structure.
And very, yes, and it really looks kind of like it would be on a lake property or something. So the other thing is it gets, just by opening that up, that kind of is mosquito mitigation and all of that kind of thing. You get a breeze.
Poison ivy.
Yeah, poison
Right.
ivy. But the other thing is Stuart commented that when we came down into the property, it was at least 10 degrees cooler than it was standing up on the road.
Yeah.
So it's just an oasis when you come down in here.
It is. It really is.
Well, speaking of the oasis, let's take a break here and let's move on to some different parts of the garden that are equally as compelling. Well, I love the way there's just pockets of interest everywhere. And this is a huge pocket of interest where you guys have taken advantage of the fact that this is a sunny pocket. And tell me what's planted in here and what the seasonal rationale for it was.
Well, we've got this gold lace elderberry over here on the right, which is, in the spring, it's a really chartreuse. And you can see some of the new growth that's coming up recently. That's pretty chartreuse. And then on the left-hand side, we've got this chartreuse golden smoke tree, the golden spirit, and gold barberry, because we have that goes so well with the blue spruce and the dark green evergreens.
How large will this get?
Oh, I think this one is a little small. I don't think it will get more than 8 to 10 feet.
But look at the way they've got it pruned up at the bottom.
This is one of those shrubs that I think looks nice in the winter. When it's pruned, you have to prune it a little bit, help Mother Nature along a little bit to keep it really sculptural. And then it's nice and airy. And we've always got this dark evergreen backdrop and the pots and the boulders, make sure that ensures there's always winter interest.
Now there's some massive yews back there.
Aren't those great?
And this is this elderberry, which kind of looks like cannabis to me.
Oh,
looks a little bit like Aurelia or a little bit like pot. No judgment here.
I would say it looks like Aurelia, not pot.
Okay. No judgment here. But this is a great takeaway. Ooh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
That's yummy. That's yummy. So
Wow, that's bright.
Chartreuse and
Imagine
blue.
that against that blue spruce or the dark green.
Yeah, because we are shooting this in September when stuff is a little bit heat stricken.
Yeah.
Great idea here. If you want to add great drama and some seasonal color in the midst of a largely evergreen space, what do?
Add a couple of big pots
With some color.
with some color in it, and this is kind of a interesting. We've got one pot planted and another pot just sitting there.
Oh,
So we've got that arrangement that
And
doesn't require everything to be
right,
planted.
and in terms of threes, it's almost like 1, 2, and then the stones are kind of the third.
Element.
Yeah, are the third element in that trio. Okay, so let's come over here, and I just love the sensuality and the noise of gravel, don't you? I love it, and it also contributes to kind of a lakeside or a state park vibe or whatever, because you've got all of this gravel and then you've got the wood on the exterior of the house in that very deep trunk wood color, kind of a deep brown. But okay, look at these now. That you talk about the effects, the sculptural qualities you can get out of pruning something. John, how old is this one?
Well, these were planted in the early 80s, and they're blue headside juniper.
Wow.
They get large. And you get dieback in the center as they age, and so they've been really loyal about keeping them pruned out and keeping them pretty.
They look
That's
amazing.
blue headside. These are gray owl that festoon the walk down to the front door.
And I think, all too often when something gets out of scale like that, we think, oh, just rip it out and, put something else in or whatever. But
or shear it into a weird shape.
Yes, that would in no way match the aesthetic you've got going here. But oh my gosh, that's just, that just makes me get the vapors. I just love the way this has been pruned. And still, it doesn't look like it's unnatural to the landscape. And it kind of just embraces this whole gravel bed where you've again replicated your pot idea tucked in amongst all of this gray.
They really show up there, don't they?
And how beautiful in the winter.
And I love that color, the terracotta color against the gray blue.
Now, obviously these kind of pots are an investment, and it's like outdoor furnishings. What would be an inexpensive alternative if you wanted to get the scale of large pots like that, but you couldn't make that kind of investment?
I think it'd be great to find an interesting tree stump or interesting piece of wood, and if you wanted to paint it a color, you could do that, or leave it and let it age naturally. For longevity, these are sitting on gravel so that they don't freeze, and so if you did something like that, like wood, you could put it on a piece of stone or some gravel to keep it off the damp soil.
I can also see if you went to, I don't know, like a farmer's supply store or something, ranch supplies, you could get something massive in metal to put in there, or from an antique store or something, to just get that visual weight, because not everybody has deep pockets, but everybody has creativity and resourcefulness.
That's right.
So let's take a break here, and then we'll walk down this way to the only pool I have ever seen in a front yard.
Oh, really? Where have you been?
Ooh, that color palette continues, gray
Chartreuse.
and this chartreuse. So tell us what this ground cover is and the tricks to keeping it so tidy and tight.
It's easy. Keeping the weeds out of it is probably the hardest part.
Right.
But it's a fast grower. You can't kill it. It's very winter hardy. So it likes the full sun though.
Do you have to prune it pretty
Nope.
consistently? Because
Well, I think at
mine had
some
a
point-
tendency to get lanky.
This occasionally gets cut back to the stone border.
Okay.
So that it's, because it would start growing out here, and then when it gets stepped on, sometimes just the traffic keeps it kind of pruned.
And what specific variety is this?
I can't tell you.
I
Well,
think it's one of those pass along plants.
Yeah. Well, Marquette had some, and
Right.
I've had some, and it's just so easy to propagate. But it also kind of seems to be able to grow in some sun and shade. So it's,
If iPhone can figure it out.
yeah, maybe, because it's just a brilliant solution and a cheap solution
And
because
it grows so fast that and just like breaking off a handful and tossing it on the ground, a lot of
Yeah.
times you'll get
So
stuff
like that
sprouting.
back in there.
Yes.
just toss it.
And so you can kind of experiment and see, let it grow where it wants
Yeah.
to.
Stringy stonecrop is what John is telling me what it is, and I have seen it where it looks stringy, so that makes me wonder if it's getting just the right amount of moisture, just the right sunlight or whatever here.
Well, this gets some good full hot sun, so it's probably helping
So
keep
yeah,
it tight.
it's tight. Okay,
And
now.
it even goes up, way back up the
Oh
slope.
yeah,
I didn't see that before.
I didn't either. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, now this is definitely, this is the money shot. This is the money shot right here. Oh my word. Okay, tell me about the evolution of this pool, the siding. Oh my gosh, here is the money shot. Right here. Unbelievable. But Roger, I don't want to miss the journey along the way to get to
I know,
the
isn't it
end
great?
point. So just opposite of this area with the stringy stonecrop is this little garden bed in the corner of where the house meets the patio.
Well, of course, the bed was here, and we wanted to make it presentable, make it look good, and it also has 2 floor-to-ceiling walls of glass that make this part of the view whenever you're inside and looking out. So it had to look good on both sides. So we needed some elevation. We brought in the metal planters, added, here close to, like right by the front door, close to the house, we've got clipped boxwoods that kind of add nice civility maybe, and then a lot of it's very, very loose, just to connect it to the natural landscape that we start with out at the driveway, and here the client, most of the pots that you see here were from her collection that were already here. We moved some of them around, repurposed a few of them, but and we worked, we brought in these black obsidian boulders that were kind of a contrast to all the red sandstone boulders out in the landscape.
I love the blue-green.
Isn't it?
Talk to me about the blue-green plants in
Well,
here.
again, we're using the blue-green plants to continue. We've got the garden juniper, and we're kind of softening that really bright blue-green of the gray owl and the blue hetzi, and the even kind of from the really sharp turquoisey blue of the spruces out in that center island. It kind of softens as it comes down here, but we've got that blue color scheme running through. There's a lot of blue and chartreuse used.
What is this?
I can't remember what that is.
Is it
The type of Artemisia. And I think this is another Bustani plant. But isn't it great?
That's
it's just
lovely.
So soft.
And the textural composition here, that
And
black
then,
obsidian.
Blue zinger, sedge grass.
I just got one question. Who turned on the air conditioner?
Oh, I know.
I know. Isn't
Talk
it
about
great?
a
Oh my gosh, the
breeze.
breeze through here.
Yeah, and let's capture this shot. Look at how the light bounces off the trees, really playing up that blue, gray, green, and chartreuse color.
And of course, at some point, that ginkgo tree straight ahead is going to be magnificent. Just that brilliant yellow for a day or two next to that. Next to that gray owl foliage.
And I love even along this path, you go by the front door, and boy, I love. There's something very, I don't know, just national park vibes or
mountain cabin
something.
kinda,
Yeah, mountain cabin meets 80s.
It's.
But I just love the surround, the beams,
Well,
everything.
Jim Frazier, the architect, is, I think, a real creative genius, and he comes up with really unique designs and really pays attention to the details.
Oh, there too, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The architecture of this is magnificent, and all of the jewelry, the fixtures. Did you have input into the fixture selection, the outdoor light fixtures and such?
No, that was all the architect and the client, I think, back in the 80s.
And boy, you still have this whole corner here. Even though we're outside, you get this. It's kind of a sunny cat spot. And then, boy, talk about a beautiful view into the interior of the house. So it's not just the view that goes from the inside outside. It's from outside to inside with the light fixtures
Oh yeah,
and
if
everything.
you're here in the evening when lights are on inside and out, it's almost a seamless flow of inside and outside.
And here's another great tip. It's almost as if you took the oxidation on this table here and thought, oh, we can just use that as a color palette for the garden.
Isn't it great? There's and in here there's iron and copper, different metals mixed.
And it's a little bit eclectic. There's even a tropical.
I think it's very eclectic.
It's very eclectic, and there's even a tropical vibe, and yet it all works together. And ooh, look at this and describe to me what we've got going here.
Well, there was a pot here. It was a little smaller. It was a bright turquoise color. It was great for a pop of color, but it kind of, especially when we get that bench in here, it kind of competed, and so we wanted something that was a little wider to keep that, because horizontal lines are so restful. We wanted to really maintain that horizontal line, and so we brought in this big concrete planter, and then just, to make it fun, these giant, these lion's paw feet under there give it an extra little twist. And again, and a lot of it, you were talking about the color schemes of the blues and chartreuse and stuff. Some of that is conscious, and some of that is totally unconscious.
Really?
You just kind of, you're John and I are thinking about the project, and just unconsciously, John proposes this blue agave.
Now, and these are cold hardy. Oh wow,
Yeah.
those are marvelous. What is that? A specific variety?
John would know.
Okay,
but
we'll find
yes.
that out. So, okay, here's another potting tip. Okay, your first tip for people was to place a large pot, something massive, within the confines of a garden bed where you might want to add seasonal color or just drama. But then sometimes you don't want the drama of verticality. You want the serenity of something that's horizontal and low profile that you can almost look over.
Yeah, that was it. We've got a magnificent view from the kitchen and breakfast area that we didn't want to block. So we keep this really low, and I'm not a fan of seeing bare dirt in pots, and so gravel is a great way to do it. And sometimes, you know, the scale of this gravel just adds to the boldness
Of the
of
composition.
everything. You know, big pot, bold leaves on the agaves, and it's of course the color of the gravel matches all the color in the flagstone.
Yes, it definitely does.
Uh-huh.
And then
Chunks
for
of
fun,
slag glass, yeah, add a little bling.
just marvelous. And I love the way, from a practical standpoint, over here she's got some parsley tucked in here because
Well, and there's got the wood burning pizza oven there, and there's a more extensive herb garden just beyond that.
Okay, well, let's take a break and let's go over there and see it. And here we go, from top to bottom. Here is my outfit of the day. My sunglasses came years ago, I think, from Target. I don't even know what brand they are. My earrings came from a little bohemian shot.
Push your hair out of the way a little bit.
Yeah, in Bloomington, Indiana, many years ago, kind of coppery. My necklace came from Burlington Coat Factory, again, many years ago. My bag, okay, this is my new favorite satchel bag or messenger bag. I just got this off of Banana Republic and I absolutely love it. It fits more than you would imagine. I love how lightweight it is, and I don't know, it's kind
like
of
a
trendy.
suede below?
Yeah, it's suede below and leather above, or faux leather above. Anyhow, I love it. It's my favorite bag this fall. My top is from H&M, also from Banana Republic. I've really been channeling Banana Republic lately. I got these shorts last year, and my slides are from Target years ago. And then another favorite for fall, in case I get kind of chilly, I can throw this over my shoulder, is my new sweatshirt. This is my new favorite thing. And let me show you, I didn't show you last time. I'm gonna do a little sales pitch for it, because it is so soft on the inside, so lightweight, and I think it looks kind of elegant, so that even when you're kind of casually dressed up, it kind of adds another layer. So it's all about that layering thing, kind of. So there you go. There is my outfit du jour. So you've got this magnificent porch that runs the length of the magnificent windows, looking out onto the porch with fabulous furnishings, wonderful outdoor living space. And then talk to me about this kitchen area. I think you told me she's really a gourmet cook.
Oh, she's amazing. She really is. And John and I've been up here for pizza night a couple of times, and she has her own secret pizza dough recipe. It has to be prepared 3 days in advance.
Oh my
And
word.
then when we come, she pounds out pizza crust, and she's got all these toppings that each one of us makes our own pizza with different cheeses, different vegetables already prepared. Just grab a handful and put them on, and then we slide them in the oven under a big pizza paddle.
Oh my word.
It is just,
And
it
look
really
at
is magic.
Okay, what a great idea for a table.
Isn't this great?
So was this here at the same time the house was built?
Yes.
And they just built, they had the prescience to
yeah.
build a table like this?
Right. This has a sink in it, so it's kind of, this could be you could eat at the table with a bench, and there's storage underneath it.
There's a sink in this?
There's a sink.
Oh, wow.
Not very attractive shot.
Still.
But so you could eat here. This could also be a buffet. Just have food out for your guests to
Oh, yeah.
serve themselves from.
And there's storage underneath
And behind
here
you.
and in here. Oh, what a great bar. This is,
yeah.
what a clever idea. And you know, something like this could be built rather economically. If you just,
The sink, though, is an issue.
well, no, the sink would be
Yeah.
an issue, but let's say the
'Cause
sink
it has to be
wasn't,
winterized
Yeah.
if you want to use it.
but if it didn't have plumbing,
Oh, yeah.
just the scale, everything, with whatever material you have on your
Right.
house for an outdoor dining
so this
area.
Saltillo tile is the flooring throughout the house.
Oh
as
my
well.
gosh.
So it really blends. But you know, you could put a sink in, but not have water running to it.
Sure.
Just have a drain so you can fill it up with ice and stick, you know, drinks
Right.
in the ice, and then let it just melt and drain out into the ground or something.
And then look at these appointments down here. I love this kind of board and batten look that kind of matches
Well,
this.
it's the same wood that's on the ceilings here and on the siding, so it really is, it's a well thought overall design.
And looking up, oh my gosh, this view, looking towards the house with the outdoor pot, the indoor pot, and then all of these brilliant
Well, and
light
you see
fixtures.
the hand-hewn logs, round logs, you know, are just an amazing touch, I think, with all of the milled woodwork.
Oh my word. And what about this pizza oven?
Don't know much about it other than it was
And-
here
and
the
then
first time I ever came here,
yeah,
and
then
it feeds us.
feeds
Yeah.
you, but look at the marvelous metal work
Yes.
on it,
Uh-huh.
It's a beautiful one.
and the stucco and the stone, and then I guess you just for your pizza marguerite you come over here and you've got fresh basil.
We've got basil, sage,
Thai
mint in a
basil.
pot, of course, more parsley, oregano, more parsley, more oregano. We've got curled parsley, flat leaf parsley. There's a lot. A lot to choose from. And again, this pot is planted. We've got 3 more pots that are not planted.
And this remains beautiful even in the winter with these evergreen
We've got
boxwoods.
with the evergreens in the pots, and we've got a couple of rocks in here. You know, the parsley is semi-evergreen. The sage, you know, the basil and the basils, and this. I love this variegated colunder basil.
Yes, uh-huh.
It really is nice.
Which one's that, sir?
That's this one here.
Michael or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah. But it's just a great basil, and it's so pretty and grows so well.
And so, just to orient everyone, this looking east is the front of the property with great depth. The house has been built to the back, far back to the west of the property. And Stuart,
And you can see how much lower we are than the street.
Yeah,
and how much privacy that gives us down here.
It's really cool.
and then just to step back into here, we won't go into what little there is at the backyard, but this is the kind of thing with just the repeat fixtures of the gates, of the staining of the wood, of the metal, the charm of the storage shed out here, the board and batten and shingled storage shed. It all just fits together. Okay, so now we're coming up to the big focal point, the pool. So this is really, well, you just talk about it.
Well, it's graceful. I think it's elegant, casual. It's very, you know, the flagstone is all, this is all a native Oklahoma flagstone. And the retaining wall is made out of the same stone stacked. Got more collections of the client's pots. This great faux bois bench, which that little niche, I assume the architect designed that, or John and Bill designed that initially to house a bench. And we found, you know, this brought in this. I just love the sculptural.
Yeah, it looks like a
faux
piece
bois
of
bench.
coral.
It does. Well, we of course bought it just plain concrete, and for her to visualize it, we drew a little elevation of it, and she liked it. But she sent it back, and she painted the bench red on it, and it has to be red. I mean, it would not.
Everything benefits from a pop of red, doesn't it?
Well, she is creative herself, and doesn't mind getting out the paintbrush to do this and that here and there. So it's just one of those clients that is so much fun to work with.
Well, even the color of blue that the
Right.
pool is painted, it doesn't at all stand out as artificial. It feels very organic and indigenous to the area. And talk about bringing the indoors out.
Aren't these great? It looks like you grabbed the chairs from the dining table and
Oh,
brought them
man, are
out.
they
But these are
comfortable.
actually manufactured for outdoors.
Wow.
It's a
They don't look like
Sutherland
that.
furniture line called Louis Soleil, like the French King Louis, and they're teak, and then the fabric. Probably, I'm sure it's perennials fabric, an outdoor fabric that looks like it should be indoors, but they're great, they're tough.
Feels like
Oh
Isn't
my!
it wonderful?
And the
I mean,
fabric is incredible.
They really are elegant.
that's nice.
Really wonderful. And then if we come back around, full circle to the steps leading up to the pool, we would be remiss if we didn't.
We didn't
Discuss
introduce
this.
Horace to everybody.
Okay, this is Horace.
Yes, Horace the hare, I guess, actually is a jackrabbit. And we have Old World Iron here in Oklahoma City created this. It's based on handrails from, I believe, the La Fonda Hotel in Santa Fe. That was originally a Harvey House restaurant. And they had done a big commission of these for long railings in a house, I think, or a hotel, and we just wanted one.
So clever.
But it is
So clever.
hand forged, and
Oh,
so each
and they-
one is
And then it's
unique.
it's attached at the bottom and then just comes up.
Right, and holds up this handrail.
Talk about amazing sculpture. There's also a couple of other pieces on the property, the peacocks.
Oh, the iron peacocks,
The iron
yes.
peacocks that sit outside in the front yard or in the front portion of the front yard.
And the oil jar,
And here
acts as a piece of sculpture.
Circle. Okay, so let's show one more charming little area, and then we'll just leave you guys to be able to dream about visiting a place like this. So underneath the canopy of, what is this? Looks like some kind of elm tree.
Oh, I think it's a sassafras.
A sassafras, really?
I'm not sure. John will correct us for sure.
Well,
But
whatever it
isn't it a
is,
great tree?
it's a great tree. I
Yes.
love the way it's been pruned. And talk about making a secluded little what you called a romantic
This
garden.
is the romantic garden, and it's just a great kind of secret little place. It's not real visible even when you're coming in. You kind of see a little bit, but we've and on this job, when John and I came back to it after 45 years or whatever, we really did just kind of edit and add a little veneer of tweaking, changing some things here and there to really just bring it back to life.
And it's got this same kind of gate.
Right.
And is this old world iron too, or were
Don't
these?
know. That's from the original build from the 80s.
And then there's stepping stones and gravel in here, and along the way there's various annuals and perennials and mondo grass.
Great space for fern.
Yes.
The mondo grass stuff. This is the dwarf mondo, does well in here.
Some hydrangeas, it looks like.
This is what is that? I cannot remember what it is.
Is it a viburnum?
No, it. Well, I guess I need to use my.
Well, we can come back and we can capture that name. And then more faux bois furniture.
Yes. Now this is just the natural concrete, which of course will age. These are fairly new pieces, so they'll get
And nice and
patina.
heavy. for
Yeah,
the
these are
Oklahoma
not-
wind.
This is not something you want to put around the dining table. 'Cause
Right.
you don't move them.
Yeah, once they're in
set them.
place, they're in place.
And we did add this patio. There was a small patio here in concrete, and so we tore that out, and so we've got this area that comes off the house, and it's clean and it's mortared, so it's easy and clean to keep clean and walk on and everything. But then it is accented by surrounding dry laid flagstones of the same stone, and of course the little path that we came in
and
on.
the creepers, the thyme.
Yeah, we've got thyme,
the moneywort,
love this variegated thyme.
a little bit of lavender.
The Thymus minimus or minus, the really
Yes.
small thyme.
That
Just
down
looks like
there?
velvet.
Yeah, it really does.
Oh, that is really
It's a
small.
creeping thyme, and then a little chimenea out here. And what do we have here?
That's Amsonia. I
With
don't
it-
think it has bloomed yet.
Yet it blooms blue.
Yeah, the real beautiful sky blue. So the color scheme, the annual flowers in here, it'll really just add to that. And again, the Amsonia tends to be kind of a chartreuse color in the early summer.
And I'm loving this composition. And our third and final tip for using any kind of rectangular planter integrated into kind of like a stem wall.
We had there are two retaining walls that step up, made out of stone, to create this raised, layered, stepped effect. And just to kind of give it a little more punch, we had this big trough that's decorative, but it matches the stone that we've used here. And so we actually removed a little section of the retaining wall on the lowest level and slid this in place, and then put the stone back up to it.
Yeah, and use what you have. And I just took a picture of this combination of plumbago, diamond frost, euphorbia, and sun patience. How
we've got
beautiful,
the
and
scaevola.
scaevola coming out.
And then imagine that when this is covered in sky blue blooms.
Oh yes, and when it's chartreuse with all of this blue.
Right.
And there's an oleander tucked back in
We've
there,
got
it looks
pink
like.
oleander. There's a black lace elderberry. We've got two oleanders. That one's not blooming so well. The green fennel, not bronze fennel.
Yes, we had a big discussion. Because it almost looks like dill, but though bronze would be beautiful there too, next to the Japanese maple.
Right.
Even though you don't like it, I know you
Yes.
prefer the green. We all have very strong opinions about here. You know, it's what I like about gardeners is we have very specific likes and dislikes. There's no bad plants, but
Right.
sometimes there's, but nevertheless,
There are some bad combinations of plants.
there's some bad combinations of plants, but there's also some really strong preferences,
Right.
I think. Well, this was just absolutely captivating. This is an oasis out
It
here.
is, and it's fun for us. It's kind of a little bit of a haul from the office, so when we come out here, it is kind of like a little trip, vacation for us, because, well, the client is so wonderful, so we always have fun seeing her, and it's such a great place to work.
And especially if you get a slice of pizza.
Oh, yes. All right.